Hey folks, Karl here and welcome to this guest build for eModels.co.uk of ICM's Ford Model T World War I Ambulance Early Edition.
eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Okay folks, so here we are. First and foremost, apologies, it's been so long since we've done a video, but there has been other commitments that I've needed to do. Mainly I have changed jobs again, still within the ambulance service, but I now work in dispatch. So a lot of training, a lot of, shall we say, stressful days, learning the new job and understanding what's going on. So all modelling was put to one side while we're doing that, but now we've almost completed our on-the-job training, so we're not far off finished and things are much better. So there we are. That's why there's not been a video for myself for such a long time, and we are now hopefully getting back into this. So we're just going to get ourselves sorted and we'll go up to have a look at what we've done so far, where we're at and where we're going next in this video. So I'll talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so where are we at the moment with this build? So we've got most of the cab built. Obviously we've textured the side panels that are made from wood, so that is almost done. We've got the seat and some pedals and stuff to put in there, so we're going to be doing that on this video. We've also got this part completed. Remember we had to put the engine in because we had other parts underneath that had to fix to that engine underneath there, all those rods and stuff. The wheels are on, they're not glued on, they're just on to give us some sort of idea what it's going to look like. They'll all be taken off to be painted. So we've got a few bits and pieces to put onto here, and then we've got the main cab to build as well. So there's some panels and stuff to go in here, and then if we look at the instructions, we have then got a few pages on. We've got things like the engine covers to put on, the side panels, and then some of the boxes, the steering wheel, and again more boxes, some rolls, spare wheels on the roof. So it's all the little ancillary stuff that's going onto the ambulance itself, but most of the big building is done. So we're going to get the sprues out and we'll take a look at what we're going to do first. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so we are working on this cab here. We've taken off the bits we're going to be needing, as shown on this part here, part 30, and it's the cushion seat, the foot pedals, and looks like the handbrake. So we've got them all cleaned up here. Zoom in, take a look, tiny little, teeny little things. There we go. So these here, and they are going onto these parts here. So we're going to get our tweezers out. We've got our glue all ready. So we are going to just put a very small dot inside each part of that. A little bit more. We'll put those parts on first. Now they're all the same. There's nothing different. So we're literally just going to pick it up on our tweezers like so. Tiny little piece. And we're just literally going to place it into the hole like so. And we're going to do that with all three pieces. So next one, just into the hole, manipulate into the position we want. I'm not sure if I'm on camera or not. We're not, so just there. So one, do it, we just put a little bit more glue on there. Just to soften that up again. And we're going to take this last piece. Place it in the hole. Just manipulate those pedals to where we want them. He says, as this one gets really awkward. Gotta love fiddly bits. There we go. Happy with that. I'm just going to put a little bit more glue on just to help them settle in place. Are we happy with where they are? Not that you're going to be able to see them very much once everything is on and in place. I'm happy with they are like that. So the next part is the handbrake, and the lever goes towards the back. So again, we are literally just going to dab some glue into there, pick up our piece, and the brake goes, the lever part, which is on this outside edge here on screen, helps, goes that way. So I'm just going to literally drop the U into there. Just like so. There we go. Again, I'm going to drop a little bit more glue in there just so it can soften up and set itself. So I'm just going to put that to one side a moment, and it's starting to lean over. So there we go. Last part to put in is the bench. I don't think it's got particularly front or back. However, this back side here is where we cut it off the sprue and sanded it down. That is perfectly smooth. There's nothing there, but you can see it. So I'm just going to put that at the back. So it will go on that way with those tabs at the back. Again, we're going to put this in with the tweezers so we don't knock anything, he says. Push it down, push it in place. It doesn't really need any glue, but we are going to put some on just to force it into place. Like so. Small dab on each corner. Of course, the capillary action will pull that around and get that glued into place. So that shall come out a little bit. 50-50 chance. So that is that part done. And of course, this is going to be sitting on there like so. So you're not really going to see it that well. And of course, this part we are actually going to be gluing into place on here, like that. Okay, when we get around to doing that. So that is all of those parts on there done. Next part we're going to be doing is the cab itself. Now there's some side panels and there's this little, I have no idea what that is. It looks like some sort of controls or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But hey, you showed me to put them in, so we're going to get them in. So I'm going to get that all prepped and done. So you don't need to see me do each and every part. So I'm going to get that bit finished and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, so we were doing this part. Now part 31 shows you to put these side panels on, which are these here. Yeah, now we are not using the armoured version of this. We're using the open window version. So those panels, these ones, that one and that one, do not go on like shown there. That one is for this panel here. Now you can see where they go. It's got the holes and everything in there. So if you're using the unarmoured one, don't worry about those pieces. It took me a while to figure that out actually, but yeah, we're sorted now. This is ready to be mounted onto here. We can put these to one side. This is now ready to be mounted onto there, but we're not going to do that just yet. We are going to go and do some of the other bits. So foot pedals, seat and handbrake are done. The front of the cab is now done. Now we're going to be moving on to, well, this part here is showing us putting the chassis on. This part is showing us putting the steering wheel in and the engine covers on. We're not going to do that part either yet, because we are going to try and see what we can do to get at least one of these panels in the open position. Not like this. We'll have one, maybe one closed, maybe one open, or maybe both open. We're going to see what we're going to have to do. So next is saying to add the panels to the side of the ambulance now, so, and the boxes. So we're going to take a look at that, see what we can add without covering too much up, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, so we are continuing, and as you can see we've now got these guards on the side of this part, the cab. Not overly difficult to put on. You just have to make sure that you were keeping them level. So I glued the front part first, give it a few moments to get tacky, and then I glued the rest down. There's some little nubs that you rest it on top of to keep it in place. A little awkward, but not overly difficult. Like I say, just remember to keep this part as flat as you can. At the moment we are just working on putting the steering wheel in through the cab here. If I zoom you in a little bit, we are just putting this part here, so stage 36. So we put that part on already. We've left the steering wheel off. You can see it is here. We're not going to put that on just yet. And we're now just feeding it through. Obviously the cab's not there and it's not in the way. We've just literally fed it through. You can see it. Yeah, we thread it through. Like I say, the steering wheel's not on, but whatever those are supposed to be, they are on camera. Helps. So it's through now, and you have to glue on, because I left it off the engine part, this part at the end here, this little section here, which is, if we go back through the instructions, way back to the engine part. Where is it? I have just looked at it. Zoom out a bit so you can see a bit more. So it was this part here. This small part here, B36. Now, B36 sits onto the little rod that was on the engine here. I'll zoom back in there a bit so you can see that a bit better. There we go. So B36 sticks onto a little part that's sticking up here. Now, I didn't stick it on there because thought it would have been easier to stick it onto this, which we have done. It was very, very awkward, but we managed to get it done. You can see it's now stuck on there. And now all we have to do, because there's a little pin on that part on the inside of there, it should now be quite easy to just locate that onto the pin like so and glue it in place. So that's going to be next, and then we can get the steering wheel. I'll probably leave the steering wheel off and paint it separately actually. As you can probably notice, we've also gone and put a spar in here. Now this isn't in the instructions. I put this little spar in here, just a piece of sprue, flattened off, cut to size, so we can mount the engine straight up if we want to. We probably would have been able to do it just on these edges here and here, but I wanted something extra there just to give it that bit of strength. So that is where we're at the moment. So we are going to carry on all the way. going to carry on. Again, the wheels still aren't stuck on, they're just on there just to, so I know where they are and I don't lose them. So we're going to carry on, we're going to get this stuck into place and positioned where it should be, and we are going to move on and start to get more parts. We are going to be moving on to these next, getting these into place and all the stuff on the back of the cab here, all these rolls and stuff. So I'm going to continue and we'll be back very shortly. Okay folks, so we've come across another awkward bit, especially in the way that we are building this kit. So we're currently just putting these boxes on. Okay, and it's putting this little panel here, which is angled. It sort of goes from this part on this section here. It connects right at the back plate here, and it angles up onto this panel here. Now, the way I've done this, because obviously I'm not connecting these two, we're painting them separate. What I've done is, because it has, I've got the other piece here, I've kept this one off. We'll zoom right in so I can show you. Okay, so on this one it has obviously the part where it connects. It also has a pin right there which connects into, we turn this around and show you on this, there's a slight small pinhole just there, and then there's the slot that it goes into right there. Now all I've done is I've got it into the position there with the slot and the pin, and then I'm trusting the engineering to make sure that it is in the right place. So all we're doing is getting the pin into place, getting it into that groove, pushing it into what we think is the right place, making sure it's straight and level, and then putting a dab of glue on. Very small dab just to get that glued into place. And then once it's dry, we will check to make sure that it is in place. So just to make you aware of that, if you're going to keep them separate and paint them separately, that part there, you should be able to, if it is slightly out of place, there is going to be some play in it, some movement, so we can push it into the right place. So I just thought I'd stop and show you that part. Obviously we've got the steering wheel in now, that's all connected up and in place. The steering wheel isn't actually on yet, but it is there and in place. We're not going to put the steering wheel on so we can get in with the brushes. We are going to paint that steering wheel separately. This little thing here, we'll just put a little pin inside there and paint it separate. Same way as we do, going to paint the wheels separate. So that is the boxes and those panels now on and in place. So we're really starting to take shape. I'm going to let that dry a little bit more before we do some test fitting to see how it fits on these back panels here. So now we haven't got that much more to finish building, to be honest. We've got this roll here, and we've got the roof's already off. We've got these wheels to put together, and then a few lights and a little, I think that's probably a fuel tank. So not a huge amount more to do. Yeah, some more lights there to go onto that part. So not a huge amount more to do. So we will continue, and we'll be back. Wrong way. And we'll be back quite shortly. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so we are just putting the handles onto the engine covers, which is this part here. Now the way I do this is when I cut the handles off, I don't just cut the handles off, I usually leave a part of the sprue on there, like so. Zoom in so you can have a look. Yeah. Always leave a bit on there gives you something to hold on to while you're putting it into place. And it's very easy to clean up once it's glued and dried and in place. So all we're doing is getting our orange piece. We've got it mounted on there. We're going to get a bit of glue. Put some in the holes ready. Pair of tweezers. I'm going to position this so we're holding it in the tweezers how we want, and then we're just going to place it where it's supposed to be in the holes, like so. Make sure it's level, like so, and we're just going to leave that to dry. Once that is dry, we've got the other one here. Once these are dry, just cut that nub off there and very gently sand that nub down, and they're perfectly in place. A lot easier to handle and control rather than just hold on to that tiny little piece. So there we go, that is the handles onto there. So where are we at the moment? We've not done a huge amount since I spoke to you last, pretty much just that. Those are all in place. There is going to need a little bit of tweaking and fiddling to get it into the right place. So if I show you, I'll put that into there where it's supposed to be. Get this clipped where it's supposed to go, like so. So you can see there's a few gaps and stuff. It's literally just a matter of pushing it together like so and gluing it in place, and then we just need to push that part in like that. The other side is pretty much bang on, not much tweaking needed on that side at all. So probably just the way I've glued it down and the way the kit itself is warped and stuff, but not too difficult. Once this is painted, what we'll do is we'll just sand down this bottom section here. So we've got ball plastic. Same here, just scrape a bit of the paint away and just glue it in place and touch up as needed. So, we did get the little roll done from the back, and we've cut out the stretcher ready to be painted as well. So there we are, that's where we're up to at the moment. Pretty much all we've got left to do now is these wheels, the fuel tank and the lights, and we are all done, ready to start painting. So talk to you in a moment.
eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Okay folks, so we are moving on. As you can see, that is now cut off there and sanded down. I've left one on so I can show you what I mean. So we've still got that nub attached on there. So we're just going to get our cutters and show you how easy it is once it's on there, just to nip that off. So it's gone. And just very gently with your sanding stick over the top of where that nub was, just clean it up. Because that's now solid and glued in place, it's not going to move at all. So we'll zoom in a bit, get this to focus if we can. Come on, focus. There we go. So you have successfully got rid of the nub on there. So a much easier way of doing it. Get it on, you've got something to hold on to while you're putting it in place, and just leave it to dry and cut it off after the fact. So there we go. Nice and neat and tidy. I'm always going the wrong way with this camera. So as you can see at the moment, we are currently working on all the lights. So they are all glued together. I'm just toying with the idea with some of these lights to put some tin foil on the inside to give them some sort of reflection, or to just paint them white on the inside. Undecided yet. Might try an experiment in a minute, put one with tin foil in. If I do, I shall record and show you what they look like. So there we go. That's what we're working on at the minute. And the wrong way again. But we are very close to completing the build on this. So not much more to do. We're just getting the clear parts out of the bag that they came in. So they've stayed nice and protected. Still undecided whether to put the windshield in There's another another bag here with the rear windows in the cab, which go in there. So are we going to put the glass in? I don't know. Probably not. I'm going to keep pretend glass in there, shall we say. So I'm going to play around with this, see what it looks like with some tin foil and stuff in, and I'll talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so we are working on the headlights. We have done one headlight with some tin foil, as you can see here, and we have that headlight there. So it's a little bit shiny, so the tin foil is in there, and we've done this by just using effectively some tin foil, a little bit of PVA, and we just put the PVA inside, and we've just pushed it down and into place. And for doing that, all I did is I got a bit of sprue and we've smoothed off and rounded off the end of here so it fits inside there, so we can actually push the tin foil down and flatten it out. Now this one took a couple of layers to get in there to get complete coverage, because as you push it in, it does start to break up and split. So effectively all we're doing is getting a little bit of the PVA glue on another piece of old sprue, just enough, effectively just a tiny little dab. We've got it mounted on here in a little bit of blue tack, and we're going to spread some of this PVA around on there on the inside. And effectively all we're doing is getting our pieces of tin foil like so. Now tin foil has quite a very shiny side and what looks like a dull side. It's still shiny, but one side is duller than the other. So that's our shiny side, and then we're literally just putting it over the top, and we're just very gently with our smoothed off bit of sprue working it onto the piece and then smoothing it out. And this is usually where it starts to split and go all over the place. You might get lucky this time and just have to use one piece. I'm just going to keep on working it flatter and flatter. And by the looks of it, this one has gone in one piece, which is awesome. And then all as we are leaving it to do once it is all in is leave it to dry thoroughly, and then we go in and smooth over it again. So we have got a tiny little split in there right at the bottom. You're probably not going to see that because of how shiny it is. So all we're going to do is get another PVA on the end of this one, very small amount, dab it in that, and then we're just going to get another piece of tin foil over the top, and we're just going to very gently work that piece in as well. And again, we're just going to probably leave it to dry for several hours, just so that the PVA can completely dry. And we'll go around and continue smoothing it out. A bit long-winded, but a little bit better than silver paint. As you can see, that one is done, and once it's completely dry, we just, all as I did was very gently sand it on the flat surface and then peel the tin foil away to save cutting it out. Now you can see the difference. These have been painted silver, and it's a lot more difficult to see. You can still see it, it's a lot more difficult. I'm not going to attempt to put some tin foil inside these smaller ones here, so I'm just going to give a couple of coats of the Tamiya X11 and let that, so now we're just going to let that dry. So we shall be back shortly. Okay folks, so we have this one now completed with glass in. So if we zoom in a little bit, there we go. So as you can see, that silver foil is looking reasonably okay, and like I say, the glass is in there. It's difficult to tell on this little screen how clear that is showing up. So this is where we were. It's awfully shiny. So all we're doing to get that tin foil off, rather than trying to cut around that circle, just get your sanding stick and very, very gently just sand over the top. No pressure, no pressure. And it should sand through that tin foil and allow you to just peel it away. So I can find my tweezers wherever they are. Just be able to lift that up and away. Still needs a little bit more there. So just very, very gently sand around the edge. You don't want to take any more of the plastic off. Just give that a little blow. We should be able to get the rest of that tin foil away, like so. Now we're just going to get our little stick, our smoothed off one, and we're just going to go around the inside again, very gently, because PVA is not the strongest of glues and it will just pull it away again. And that is it. On and trim down. So all we need to do now is put the glass on there. Well, it's not glass, but you know what I mean. So we've got our glass pieces. Now one side is beveled, this side, compared to the other. So that is the side that just sits inside there. And all we're doing, a little bit of PVA around the edge of there, and place it on, and then just leave it be to dry. So we've got our PVA. We will get a little bit into a little, you can see where I've had some previously. Stuck solid. We'll get a little bit PVA out of our bottle. Not that much, crikey. A bit of PVA just on the top of there. Should cut our piece out. He says as he drops his cutters. Excuse me. Cut that out of there and let it drop. Now then, so we've got our beveled side up. Just going to get our PVA and we're just very gently going to put a little bit on the end of the cocktail stick. Just very gently going to go around the edge, put PVA on as much as we can get, like so. He says off on camera. So we're just doing one edge with PVA on it because obviously we're holding it. We're going to very gently just drop it in, push it into place where we want it. So it might look a little bit messy now, where that PVA is going to dry clear, and then we're just going to get a bit more PVA on the edge. We're just very gently going to go on the edge of that. And fill in that little bit of a gap that's there. Some of that access from the edge. Get our tweezers, make sure it is flat. So we've got a bit of tin foil on there. And then we don't want to touch it again. We just want to leave that to completely dry. So while that's there, I went back to these, the smaller ones, because the silver that we painted on it wasn't looking great. So I actually painted them black first and then went back over them with that bit of silver. Now we've mounted one onto the back of the ambulance there. I've not put the glass into these. I'll do that right at the very end once it's all painted and finished. All we'll do to cover that silver paint up is put a little bit of blue tack in there. No pressure on it, just so it sits and holds, so it's easy to get out once we've painted. The other two are going to sit on these windows. I'm undecided whether to mount them yet or not. I think I'm going to have to, because painting those like that is going to be very, very difficult. If not impossible. So I think I am going to mount them gently, of course. And then once this second one is dry, those get mounted onto this front section here. And that is the build complete. We have managed to get I can't remember if I've showed you these, the stretchers completed. There was a bit of building underneath, not a huge amount. So we've got the two stretchers. You only need one, but I've got two. And on the sprues, we've got some shovels and some other bits and bobs. I don't know what to do with them. I'm going to take a look, see if I can find any reference pictures, and see where these shovels were mounted. We might mount a couple of shovels on there, so we'll see. And I'm still undecided whether to mount the glass into these panels as well. So, build is almost complete. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll get them other bits mounted, and we should be all done with the build. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, so we have got the lights fitted to the front of the cab. You can see them there. They've been masked up, ready for paint, which is going to be the next step in this build. We're going to call this video, or this episode here, done. We have finished. Thoughts on the kit? Very nice, loved it. It's a very easy kit to put together. It looks complicated because there's a lot of small parts, but it fits together superbly well. Like I say, I would highly recommend it. It's been a fun and enjoyable build. And of course, we've done some few modifications. Oh dear. Cut, start again. So we've done a few modifications. We've done the wood paneling on the back. We of course have done some wiring and stuff on the engine block inside there, and we put this strutter across the top ready for mounting the engine covers, so we can have either both sides open or one side open at least. And we're going to be doing a diorama that this is going to sit on. It's just going to be on a small little picture frame, almost a vignette. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. So if you fancy doing this kit, of course it is available at eModels.co.uk. Head on over, take a look, and if you've liked what you've seen, get yourself one. Like I say, ICM, great kit manufacturers, nice little detailed kits, and there is plenty of detail in there. So, like I say, I'm going to call this video here. So thank you all very much for watching. Thank you eModels for giving me the opportunity to do this build. And we shall of course see you next time. Ta-ta!
eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.